In terms of NFTs, we had a whole market of NFTs. It was literally, so far it feels like a bubble. Like it went to highs. Even myself bought two at a time and didn't end up selling them. And now we don't really hear of NFTs. We don't really see any sort of movement over there. And yet there were talks of beyond just the art, just beyond the sort of hype of what we saw, of it being having like a use case, very similar to what we were talking about in terms of previous tokens. Do you think there's a future for NFTs and that market?
Absolutely. I mean, the NFT technology is incredible. So the NFT technology, your ability to track things, your ability to group things, your ability to create smart contracts and interact with individuals and be able to create a different level of experience inside of the blockchain is going to be a technology that people are already using. People are using it already to, put people's biometrics on the blockchain, right? And categorize them with an NFT. Soul-bound tokens, right? Another thing that you can attach permanently to a wallet. You introduce that, now you can add memberships or IDs or digital collectibles, things that people actually utilize. We begin to see the emergence of high-quality games and games that are going to last for an extended period of time. Let me give you an example. We have Grand Theft Auto 6 on the way. Dude, I'm going to be playing the fuck out of that game. You know why? Because people are going to be building and doing business on that thing for the next 10 years. Do you want to make money? Get on Grand Theft Auto and get good. They're about to roll out some digital currency feature. If they don't, it'd be foolish of them. But imagine now you have a digital currency attached to a game like Grand Theft Auto. So these things need to be digitalized. So digital collectibles, these are going to be your non-fungible assets. Imagine people, instead of playing Counter-Strike, right, and collecting all these skins or the Fortnite skins, actually had the ability to what? Own, trade, and sell that thing that they worked hard for. The problem is, right now, it's the risk factor. So the gaming community doesn't like it. They're kind of like the Reddit community. They're like, hey, fuck crypto. Okay, I get it. That's fine. It's going to come inevitably at some point, maybe the next generation, but it'll come. So you have the gaming community that doesn't necessarily like it because it was really fucking ruggy and it was weird. But that was its first phase, its first version. It's like the 2017 bull run. You had crypto tokens that were like super weird and that hit multi-billion-dollar market caps and they produced nothing. And they were the first cycle of altcoins and they were garbage. But better projects emerged over time. So better NFT companies and better use cases will emerge over time. One of them is Pudgy Penguins, for example. It's the number one NFT in the world. I'm one of the co-owners in the company. And the value of the collectible is the IP. So Pudgy Penguins generates billions of views a year. And the value is attached to what? The attention and the distribution. So imagine, for example, now you have Fortnite or the likes of Fortnite saying, hey, you know what? Let's try this digital collectible. The issue isn't the digital collectible. The issue is, once again, we were talking about the attention. Remember, it's like where you have to go where the culture is. And the thing is, culture right now just hasn't accepted that as a viable means of something that they want. But it doesn't mean that in the future, a single game or single entity won't adopt it. So I'm envisioning, one of these projects, one of these big AAA games saying, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's incorporate some sort of crypto feature. And whoever does it is going to be extremely successful. It just has to be where the pocket of attention is. Today, meme coins have replaced NFTs. They've replaced them because most NFTs were kind of like meme culture. But you have X amount of units, let's say 5 or 10,000 units. So your product or your project was only as good as the floor price. So only as good as your weakest holder. Now we've translated it to meme coins, right? You don't have to own $1,000 piece in order to be part of a collection. You can own $4 on Solana. You don't have $50 gas fees. So right now the meme culture, what we had in NFTs, the degeneracy, has moved over to meme culture. And I don't see it moving back the same way that it used to because of the liquidity that is attached to the meme culture. It's so easy to get in and out of positions. The risk is so much smaller. But then you find these blue chips, these winning products like Pudgy Penguins, this winning IP. And by owning the NFT, you're basically betting on the IP to continue succeeding long term.
I love that. And I think it's so important, like what you've highlighted already in terms of attention, because even with the meme market, for example, I think a lot of people, what we've seen anyway, generally with crypto investing and, just generally with social media as well, is that people they'll hear sound bites or people saying something, and they'll just go run at it without any research or any
Yeah.
knowledge. So like with the meme coins, for example, they'll hear of one, let's say just a random one, and they'll just invest. They won't even look to manage or look at a chart or whatever it may be. What are your thoughts when looking at memes and sort of managing your positions whenever invested? Like, what is it that you would look for in terms of how to get out, or would you look to invest and then is there any sort of like break even sort of strategy that you would go for? Because I know
I'm
a lot of
big on
people just
memes.
hold.
I'm big on memes. So one is if you're just reading something on Twitter and you buy it, you're not investing, you're gambling, and you're depending on somebody else to make you money. 95% of the time, you're going to lose it because you don't understand the thesis or the analysis that the other person has done. You're just trusting them. Now, there's people out there that have good track records. Okay, look at what they're saying, but don't just take it. Do your own research. What is your own research in a very practical way? Specifically in crypto, what do you bet on? One, winning teams, right? So you bet on winning teams. Who's the CMO? What's their strategy in order to acquire new eyeballs? Because that's what matters. And meme culture is about who can acquire the attention. Now you begin to see kind of narrative swarm. You saw Pepe kind of take off. Okay, and then I was like, okay, Pepe took off, and it took off on the Ethereum chain. And then you started hearing something about the lines of something called the Boys Club. And you're like, okay, what's the Boys Club? Oh, well, Pepe, the character that everybody knows, he's part of this comic book thing. It's called the Boys Club. I'm like, okay, well, there's other characters to that in that thing as well. And then I see a meme pop up on Base Chain called Brett. And I look at the character and I'm like, okay, this thing's at $1 billion market cap. Okay, this is the second character of this thing. So I'm like, okay, what are these meme guys doing? Then I go to Solana and there's the third one, which is called Wolf. And then I'm like, okay, so these guys are building a narrative. So I catch on to the narrative and I start buying. And the market starts performing in that direction because the narrative makes sense. The narrative is, hey, Pepe took off, therefore the other ones are going to take off as well because they're part of the same idea. Enough people are believing into this concept and the performance is doing extremely well. Number one. Number two is their ability to list on exchanges and their ability to access liquidity. The higher risk is incurred in the beginning when you're buying something off of, your DEX screen or your DEX tools that is like day 1, day 2, day 3. But once something gets listed on an exchange, let's say Bybit or KuCoin, even some meme coins eventually end up on Binance, that's the end of the cycle for the most part. Who's left to buy, right? So once you get onto the exchange, even in crypto in general, you need to understand that the returns are not going to be the same as the space that's operating inside of the DeFi ecosystem. So if you're looking at Robinhood, right, and you're buying Doge thinking that you're part of the meme culture, well, Doge, yes, is obviously OG meme, but it's no longer going to give you the same multiples and the same plays that it used to the last bull run. Dogecoin has kind of hit that category where it's kind of become accepted as money. Like if I was to ask you, hey, right now I'll give you 10,000 pounds, would you save it in Zimbabwe dollars or in Doge? In Doge. So which one's more real money? You know what I mean? The world's fucking crazy. So once you ask yourself that question and you answer that and you're like, you know what? I prefer holding Dogecoin, and some of my Argentina team members, I'll pay them in Bitcoin and they'll hold Bitcoin instead of holding the Argentine peso. Which one's the actual meme coin? Like which one's the shit coin? Like you begin to evaluate what are all the categories of a shit coin. The fiat system represents all of them. You don't know who the fucking dev is. The dev can print infinite supply. The dev can rug you. The dev can take your tokens. The dev can freeze your supply. And they can tell you where to and where not to transact. I don't want that currency. That currency's shit. If that had a different token instead of a US dollar had a different name, nobody would buy it.
Yeah.
I buy it and then more of it gets printed and then that gets dispersed and therefore my shit's worth less. That's what the meme coin is. That's the joke. So once you break from the illusion of, oh, meme coin this, meme coin that, dude, go to the penny stock market. Half of those companies are fucking memes. They're a joke. Biotech this, biotech that. Bro, it's a couple news articles in a shack in the middle of the woods. You don't think so? Okay, go watch The Wolf of Wall Street again, dude. It's a crazy environment out there. And now what you're seeing is meme coins being a true form of this idea of people wanting to make fast money. But now It's not this garbage illusion of whether this company's real or not real, fake revenues. No, there's a meme coin, and whether culture adopts it or not, it's your gamble and it's your play. But it's, to me, the most honest part of all of crypto.